times. Well, hello, it's Saturday night. Welcome to the Jonathan Ross Show. Let's start, as we always do, by having a look in the green room and seeing who's on the programme tonight. My first guest kept us all guessing in Homeland, and now he's the king of all he surveys in the excellent Wolf Hall. It is Henry VIII himself, Damien Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. The fabulous Damien Lewis. My next guest is fresh from triumphing at the Brits, where she deservedly picked up the award for Best Female Solo Artist. I love her, I'm sure you do too. It's Paloma Faith. Hi, Paloma. I love that look. Also here, one of the most popular stand-ups on TV and one of the stars of Channel 4's The Last Leg. It's the very funny Mr. Josh Widdicombe. Hello, Josh. Hello. Young Josh. And we have not just a music superstar, but a definitive style icon. He is the coolest man in pop. It is the one and only Brian Ferry. There he is. Oh. And Brian, we're not going to be chatting here. We're performing live at the end of the show too. The one and only Brian Ferry. Let me move on to some. I think you're going to like this, because we've all been talking about this. The thing with the dress on the internet. Have you all looked at that? Do you know what I'm talking about? That sensation, the simple dress caused a sensation on the internet this week. Its colour has divided people into the two distinct camps. You either see the dress as blue and black or as gold and white. Here it is. Let's start the argument. So there's the dress. How many people are seeing that as gold and white? Yeah. OK, so I'm guessing the rest of you are either just not interested or you're seeing it as black. Are you seeing it as black and blue, the rest of you? Yeah. You're weird. It's so weird. And apparently it's to do with the way the brain filters messages from your eyes and the way different levels of light reflect with colours, and then your eyes interpret them in different ways. And to prove it, we thought we'd try and explain. We're going to change the lighting here in the studio. So you can see this evening I've deliberately worn a blue suit. This is a blue suit, no matter what you might think. And I've got a tie with a lot of blue and some white in it as well, white shirt there. So you can see I'm wearing, essentially, it's blue, black and white. Now, when I turn to the camera over here, you'll see that when we change the lighting, it's totally different. So I'm going to turn to the camera now. But then back on that camera, and you see, so that's really, this is black and blue, and that was white and gold, wasn't it? Did you see that as white and gold? I've never felt so relaxed. Let's get my first guest out. He's one of my favourite actors with stand-out performances in shows like Band of Brothers, of course, Homeland, and now the fantastic Wolf Hall. Please welcome Mr. Damien Lewis. What a lovely purple dress you're wearing. Oh. Have you ever... Obviously, there was a bit of trickery involved there. Yeah. Have you ever worn the full lady regalia? Have you ever worn the high heels and done the dress and everything?
I'm not here to discuss my personal life with you, Jonathan. I have, actually, for the first play I ever did at Royal Shakespeare Company.
Really?
Yes, and I was in 4-inch heels and a big wig and a corset and...
And did you enjoy? Did you like wearing the gear?
Yes, I did, quite a lot.
It is, but those shoes, I don't know how people can hobble around those shoes.
You should see Paloma's shoes.
So it's great to have you here. And, you know, now, I love the fact that you are so well-known all over the world. Are you someone who enjoys fame? Because Homeland really put you on the map, didn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, Band of Brothers, I suppose, got me sort of going, but, yeah, the sort of attention in the street, if you like, became a bit more aggressive, a bit more, you know, just right all over you, and... people grabbing your arm and going, oh, my God, OMG, oh, my God, oh, my God.
Jay-Z's a fan of it. He put Brody, the character you played in Homeland,
he referenced Brody in one of his songs. Yeah. Which was, I don't know, if you want to arrive anywhere, that's where you want to arrive, isn't it? In a Jay-Z song.
Have you spoken to Mr. Z about this reference?
No, well, it's Jay now between us two, but no, I haven't.
Well, you've got to...
I think I'd be too scared to.
How did you manage to avoid giving out spoilers for Homeland? Because obviously it was a great series and it was edge-of-the-seat stuff, but you needed to not know what was coming next, I think, to fully enjoy it. And if you haven't watched it yet, we're going to talk about stuff near the end now. But you managed to keep it quiet for most people. But I know there was an incident... Was it with Jennifer Lawrence where she didn't know what was
lovely Jennifer... Who loves Jennifer Lawrence in here?
Yeah.
Isn't she great? Terrific, wonderful actor. But we found ourselves next to each other on the red carpet in LA recently. LA. Which I believe is near Hollywood. And we were on the red carpet and we were being interviewed independently, and she just suddenly went, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I love
That's the worst Jennifer Lawrence impersonation has ever done.
And she said, "I love your show," etc., blah, blah, blah. It's Brody. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
La, la, la. And then the woman who was interviewing me turned around and said, "Have you seen it?" And Jennifer went, "Oh, I love it, and said, and block your ears, anyone who wants to watch it now.
This is the time to block your ears.
Were you devastated at the end when he was... And she went, "What?" And the woman just crumpled. She knew immediately. She went, "Oh, my God, you haven't seen it. Oh, my God."
This is on
You
film.
haven't seen it. Yeah, it was all on film.
Well, we can show you. This is the moment when Jennifer Lawrence had her life
A man
temporarily
can dream.
ruined. Yeah.
You've never met him before?
That is Brody. I've never met Brody before. I can't look.
Okay, you
Don't
want to
look.
meet him now?
No. Be cool.
Okay, no,
Be
okay.
cool. Don't stop looking. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop it. Seriously, I'm not good. No, stop it.
It's great.
Yes.
Come here, let's
She wants me
cuddle.
to.
Oh my God.
Fantastic. How are you?
This show's amazing.
Are you upset that he died?
I'm great.
You know they killed him off.
They killed him off.
What?
They killed him off.
They killed him off on the road.
Don't tell us you did, just a spoiler.
Oh my gosh.
No, they haven't.
No, they really have.
These two are
I
crazy.
can't process this right now, and I can't. There's cameras, and I have to.
These two are crazy. They've been doing this all day to everybody.
I can't believe you said that.
What a horrible way to be told. Man. But I love the fact that you did it, because whenever I've given that spoiler, you always then try and fake. I go, no, I'm just joking. And you never can convince anyone.
I know.
Did you speak to her afterwards about that? Did you?
No, I didn't. I looked for her all night, obviously. But no, I didn't.
OK, now here's exciting news. If you're a fan of Damien, he's just about to hit the stage in American Buffalo. A brilliant play by David Mamet. It's at the Wyndham Theatre, and a great cast along with you on this.
Well, yeah, as you can see, lovely Tom Sturridge, who's a brilliant young actor. I can plug his film. He's got Far From the Madding Crowd coming out. And John Goodman, of course, legend. Yeah. So we're very excited. And that will start rehearsing in 2 weeks. And, great story about three men, three small-time crooks who try to commit a heist, steal a batch of precious coins, and it all goes terribly, terribly wrong. It's really about three men in a cave, unable to do anything that they set out to do. It's quite sad.
The great thing in a
But it's very funny as well.
The dialogue is fast and funny as well. And so you haven't actually started rehearsing yet. You're going to sit down with these guys in a couple of weeks.
We're going to sit down and, I haven't met John Goodman yet. And Tom I know a little bit, but thought I might take him for a few beers in a local public house.
So is that the bonding process? You go out and get a little bit drunk with people?
Pretty much, yeah.
And congratulations on Wolf Hall. What an incredible achievement that has been. And that must have been what a great part to get, to play Henry VIII. What a great role. Yeah,
it's a fantastic role. And Hilary Mantel's books are a work of great imagination and inventiveness. And you get a little peek behind the closed doors of these very well-known characters. And that's, of course, why it's been such a success, her reimagined world that these characters inhabit. And Henry... Yeah, Henry is boyish and charismatic and charming and homicidal maniac.
But here's the weird thing, because you don't look like, or indeed act like, the Henry we've kind of grown up with. You know, I mean, if you look at that, what's that old picture we've got? This is the kind of traditional view we have of Henry VIII, I think, looking much kind of stockier and broader. And I guess this is late period Henry, and we imagine him with like a side of mutton or something, and, you know, that's the Henry we think of, not a young, athletic one, but I assume, of course, he was once.
These are the Holbein paintings, but Henry was the preeminent sportsman of his time. He was a great falconer, archer, hunter, jouster. His meals were 7-course meals.
Wow.
And he loved nothing more than just riding out on his horses. He used to travel for 3 or 4 months to his different castles through the summer months. He was paranoid about getting plague or the sweats or even a minor cold, as far as I can work out. But he was this sort of preeminent sportsman, and he then had this accident where a horse rolled on him, and he was concussed, actually, for 2 hours, and he couldn't joust or hunt anymore. And from that moment on, that's when he became like that, and he just ballooned. He was sort of like a Tudor Elvis.
Sat at home and ate. Yeah. Well, look, shall we have a look at a clip? Would you like? How many of you saw Wolf Hall, by the way? more than I thought. So, it's great, though. Get it on DVD. This is a clip of Damien as Henry, and I think it's a really powerful performance, so congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a really
Thank you
wonderful
very
piece of work. Have a look at this.
Oh, come on. What's keeping her? You know the Queen, sire, never on time for anything.
This is the last time she'll keep me waiting, I promise you.
Yes, indeed, sire. Unless she's late for her own funeral.
There you go, Damien Lewis as King Henry VIII. That's a different take on it. No, that was the wrong clip. Here he is in Wall 4. Enjoy this. This is good.
What would a man like you know about the honor of princes? You told him you have the king in your pocket. Don't deny it. You would train me up like one of your boys, have me touch my cap when you come down in the morning and say, "How do you, sir?" But I really believe you think you are the king, and I am the blacksmith's boy. Don't you? Don't you?
God preserve your majesty. And now, will you excuse me?
Wow. How about that? That's a great scene right there. That's Wolf Hall. That's out on DVD now. And if you do bump into Jennifer Lawrence, don't tell her what happens to Anne Boleyn, because she hasn't seen it yet, has she? So no spoilers. What about your sons? Because I guess they're... How old are your boys now?
I've got a girl and a boy
Oh,
there,
God, my
8 and 7.
8 and 7.
8 and 7.
OK, so presumably they haven't seen a lot of your work. I mean, they can't watch that, they can't watch Homeland.
No, it's not age appropriate, a lot of the work that I do, unfortunately.
So what did they think? I mean, they must have known you were acting, but if
They don't know what acting means. You tell a 7-year-old or a 5-year-old you were actors, and it's, you know, they're as likely to say, "Aren't we all?" You know, what does that mean? So we would always tell them we still tell them we're storytellers, and we get paid to tell stories for people, and they seem to understand that. But going on the school run, actually, during the height of Homeland, there was this one wall, one billboard. There was an enormous poster of Homeland with me on it, and every time we'd get stuck in traffic right by this poster, and I didn't want them to be too overwhelming for the children. I thought it'd be confusing for them. They were 5 and 6 at the time, and I was always pointing at things out the other windows, going, "Oh, look at that there," and they'd all go, "Oh, where's Daddy?" And then one day, my son, he was about 5 at the time, turned and he did a better double take than Sid James could have done. And he went, "Dad, there's a huge picture of you on the wall." And I was so confused by the whole thing, and that's when we just had to break it to him. That's what Mummy and Daddy are up to.
Are you going to stay with us, I hope, Damien?
Yes, absolutely.
You've got so much stuff going on, and American Buffalo's at the Wyndham Theatre from the 16th of April. It's a great play. I know it's going to be great with that cast in it. Damien Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Brilliant. Thank you. Still to come on the show, along with Damien, we have Paloma Faith, Josh Widdicombe, and music and chat from Brian Ferry, so don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Damien Lewis is still here, and I'm going to get my next guest right out there. She has it all. A fabulous voice, a unique style, platinum and selling albums, and now she has a Brit Award as well. Please welcome the fabulous Paloma Faith. Lovely to have you here.
Hello. It's been ages since I saw you. Do I go there?
Yes, you go here, please. You take the pole position right there. Paloma, well, here she is, the best British female solo artist at this year's Brits, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Long overdue, because you've been nominated a couple of times in the past, haven't you, for that award?
Yeah, that was my 4th nomination. Wow. And that's me bawling my eyes out.
The previous years, when you didn't go home with it, did you have speeches ready then? Had you already thought through what you were going to say?
No, I didn't have a speech ready that night. I think basically I was at the table, and as my category was getting closer, like, people's body language was shifting and around me, and, like, my manager just sort of grabbed my hand, who, incidentally, I forgot to thank, like, was the one person I was supposed to thank. But I was in such a frenzy of weirdness that I was like, ugh. And he sort of just grabbed my hand reassuringly and went, "Take your time." Like that. And I was like, ugh. And then I started frantically writing names of people on a piece of paper.
So
that
did
I
he
should
know then?
probably...
Is that means he knew you'd won?
I
do you
think he knew by that point, yeah, but I didn't know. And then I was like writing names, and I was like in a panic, and I forgot. And you get like really kind of overwhelmed, and it becomes a bit of a blur because like I just had no idea. And I've also am a person who just never expects to win anything, because I've actually never won anything ever, including a raffle or like a £10 lottery ticket.
Not even when you were a kid, not even when you were little?
I've never... I think I won one egg painting competition at Easter at school.
Did you thank your manager back then, or was that... the speech I thought was lovely. The speech you made at the Brits I thought was really... It sounded so genuine, and it was clearly so emotional.
Because it was.
Yeah. And speaking about... I mean, it was remarkable. You spoke about having been in Hackney before and being arrested for fly posting your own gigs, which I never knew that happened to you. That must have been scary at the time, being arrested.
Well, my mum loves to bring me down a peg, so she took great pride in reminding me after that, you were not arrested, you were cautioned. But I was like, oh, all right, but it sounded better to say arrested. But, yeah.
Let me ask you about your mum. You mentioned your mum there, you said she brings you down to earth. So, and I know you had quite an unusual upbringing, didn't you?
Yeah, my mum's, like, unusual. I don't know, like, my mum's very imaginative. She was quite a sort of... She's an optimist, and she's, like, really creative. And I think the older I get, the more I'm turning into her. But, like, she used to, like, do stuff like make a little restaurant on the pavement for me to have dinner. And she'd pretend it was a restaurant, because she'd, like, we'd go out to a restaurant tonight, and I'd get so excited. And she'd make one, like, on the pavement in Hackney, like, a little table with a tablecloth, flour, and my mum, like, was working full-time, so there wasn't much time to cook. So she used to cook me pretty much the same meal every night, which was, like, some pasta with tomato sauce. And she'd come out and make it seem so exotic with a tablecloth, like, over her arm, and she'd be like... So, madame, this evening we have the special pasta with a fresh tomato sauce, tinned, by the way. And she'd make it like, can I take your order? And I just thought it was like, my whole world was so... Like, as a kid, I just was mesmerised by how brilliant life was. And literally, when I look back, it was all kind of from my mum's brilliant imagination.
That's so lovely, though. That is so
and
lovely.
I went on holiday with her the day after the Brits, and she really struggles with, like, my mum's a proper kind of people person, like socialist and, you know, everything, the most PC person ever. And we walked into the hotel that I booked, which I have to say I consciously didn't book anything too posh because I knew my mum would be upset. And we opened the door and she goes, I've got to say it now, I'm uncomfortable with your lifestyle and I'm uncomfortable with how relaxed in it you are. And I was like, oh. And she was like, that breakfast buffet is out of this world.
Is she the sort of mother who is desperate for you to have your own children so she can be a grandmother, or is she happy that the career's... and she's focused on the career for you?
Well, there was one tour that we did where... I found my mum, like, in catering, because we travel with caterers, like, because there's so many people working on it. After I got off stage one day, I found my mum in the catering, eating, like, a sort of white bread sandwich, talking to the woman who prepared it, saying, I mean, it's all bloody fair and good, this fame thing, but I haven't got any grandkids. And I was like, oh. She was like, I was like, Mum, let's get out.
So she's keen for that. She's working on you for that.
She's just like, you've done it now, you can add that to your list. And, like, before this album came out, I think I've said it a few times, my mum was like, if it doesn't go well, you can rent your spare room out.
Well,
so that was my plan B.
Here's the current album. This is The Perfect Contradiction. This has been out for a while and it's been a huge seller, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's done quite well.
And
that's the Outsiders edition, so it's got...
Excellent
some new songs. It's got the new single, which is coming out now.
Yeah, well, we have a clip.
Beauty
This is Beauty Remains for Paloma Faith, and it's lovely. So a lot of your songs, I noticed on that album, a lot of your songs recently they've been about breakup, they've been about heartache, they've been about those things, which are great topics for songs, of course. But you're with someone at the moment, you have a man in your life, so things are pretty good. You don't have that actually going on.
I'm really, really, really happy, and I don't have anything to moan about. So I'm trying now to write... I've started my new album. I'm trying to write songs that aren't about love or heartache, which is really challenging.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of more important... Not more, but as important things going on in the world.
So if you're not worried about those, because that's what, you know, love songs tend to have that element in there. You can, I suppose you can write one saying, I'm just really happy right now, but that doesn't tend to be as interesting, does it?
I don't think so, but when I actually worked with Pharrell on this album, and I spoke to him before Happy was, like, really big, and he was like, I'm just happy, and I just want to sing about being happy. And he did really well at it, didn't he? Like, we all just loved it.
But when you put it like that, he makes him sound quite annoying, doesn't it?
It's like, he said, oh, people are always
now.
moaning. I was like, oh, I was going in, I was like, I'm a queen of tragedy, I'm dark, I just want to struggle. And he was like, no, I just want to be really happy and successful.
I'm so happy I'm going to wear a silly hat and get away with it. No, I was talking about the Bond movies, and I know you recently put out there how much you'd love to do a Bond theme song, which would be, of course, a great thing.
Like, yeah, look, there's me saying I've been waiting patiently to be able to sing the next theme. I've taken so much inspiration.
No, but you see, that's unusual because that's a bit needy. You putting that out there.
But you know what I was saying the other day? It's like it's really weird in sort of celebrity culture that it's like. Everyone's got to sort of pretend that everything's like that. Like, people are shocked at my speech that I was actually pleased because everyone's sort of got to pretend that it's like, oh, great, thanks, yeah, Brit Award. Like, no, I've worked for ages to get that. Thank you. And it's like, why can't I just go, well, I'd really like to do this as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's all this sort of pretending to be cool. I want everyone to know I'm not cool, and I'm happy not to be cool. And I also know that I'm not going to be singing the Bond because I've found out that I'm not going to be singing.
Well, because I thought maybe you had, because I knew that you'd been out doing a secret track in LA, and I thought maybe this was it.
No. I'm stumped.
All right. Now, I read this, I don't think it's true, that obviously, I know, I've seen you perform live, you sang live on the show last season, and it was incredible. But you, obviously, when you're doing a video or sometimes when you're doing TV appearances, sometimes people ask you to mime.
Well, I know, I only got asked to mime once in my career, and they've never asked me again because I just can't I can't lip sync.
This was the Alan Titchmarsh show, I believe.
Yeah. They kept cutting to my band because my lips kept going out of sync with the music.
Okay, so you just can't do it. So if I was to play a bit now and ask you to lip sync, even though it's your own song, you might not be able to do it?
I might not be able to. I'll try.
OK, well, let's see how good you are. Damien, are you any good at lip syncing?
Lip syncing?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's see, OK.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. We've got Other Woman. OK, here we go. So let's play it. Even Alan Titchmarsh is at home going, no, she can't do it still.
I wrote the song.
That must be weird. Okay.
I wrote those lyrics, and the thing is when you, like... Because if you write them, you've got creative licence, so if I make a mistake, I can just swap them for another line.
So if you're singing live, you can just do whatever you want.
But, like, with that, you've got to be right, and when you sort of go, you've got to remember where you did that, and it's like, I can't remember where I did that. So I just can't do it.
Damien,
which proves it's always live.
Yeah. Damien, we got one for you. We got with a foreigner track because we figured...
A foreigner track?
Yeah, we figured let's be age appropriate.
Start at the top.
And,
is he getting the words?
This is... well, should we give him the words or not?
I would say so.
OK. This is the classic I Want to Know What Love Is. A great
Where
song.
are we starting?
Imagine if Damien had been the lead singer of Foreigner. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
There's been heartache and pain.
Hey, Brian.
Oh, enjoyed that. Thank you.
Tell Brian Ferry he can go home. Wow, that was pretty exciting. That was good.
Yeah.
You are such a
Better than
ham
me.
when you do that sort of thing.
Oh,
You do that.
I love a bit of karaoke.
Paloma, I'm so pleased you're on it. You so deserve it, and it was so lovely to see you get it and be
Thank
so
you.
excited to
Yeah,
receive it. And it was a genuinely lovely moment, and I can't wait for the new album, the Happy Album, as we'll call it. Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Paloma Faith. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really wonderful.
Can you ask me if I'm going to stick around?
Yes, I want you to stick around. You going to stick around?
No.
Yes, you are.
I'm off. Me and Josh were talking backstage about how fun it would be because you always say, "Are you going to stick around?"
Okay.
You always say
Well,
it.
I'll ask you again.
It's
Are
like,
you
no,
going to stick around?
No.
Still to come after the break, we have Josh Whittaker and Brian Ferry. We're chatting and performing live, so don't go away.
I won't be here.
You will, but... Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. She did stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out. One of our finest TV comedians. He's a Live at the Apollo and panel show regular. Will you please welcome the very funny Mr. Josh Whittaker. Hello. Look at that. Hey, Josh, it's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm hoping we have a lot of your fans in. So this, I haven't seen you. I know you're on a show which is...
then.
Wow.
God, this isn't
Trying
the
to
start
make
I'd
him
hope.
secure.
Is that... Why, are you
I
nervous?
don't feel secure, I feel abused.
You haven't done that many talk shows as a guest, though, have you?
No, you're lucky to have me.
Yeah, but you're keen to do it, I hope.
Very excited.
Good.
Very
Well, I'm
excited.
pleased to have you on, because I love watching you on TV and I like your comedy.
Thank you very much. This has been a dream, Jonathan.
Really?
That sounded sarcastic. It wasn't meant to be. I don't want to say this because it's blowing smoke up your arse.
Wow.
But I went to Madame Tussauds 6 years ago.
Well, already the fact you said 6 years ago has made it seem less like praise friendly. I know they've moved me to Blackpool now. I'm not there anymore.
I've heard your candles now. I went to Madame Tussauds and my most exciting moment was I had my photo taken as if I was on the Jonathan Ross show.
Oh, yeah, because they had to set it like that.
Yeah, so I've brought it for you to see.
Well, let's see. This is this is a while ago. Where's the...
Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't know which of us comes out of that worse.
Oh, I think we... Well, yeah, actually, you know, come to think of it, we don't...
It looks like that was the period when I was homeless.
It looks like a very butch lesbian interviewing Bilbo Baggins. So a lot of people, I think, know you from The Last Egg. I don't know how many fans you have there, but I love that show. I think it's a great show on Channel 4.
You.
You're there with Adam and you're there with Alex, of course.
Yeah.
How do you describe the show to people who might not have seen it yet?
There's two disabled guys and me, and we get onto TV because there's quotas. No, it started as a show in the Paralympics where we were just talking about the day's sport, and then now it's become about the news.
But you're not...
No, I'm not disabled.
You do not have a disability?
I've got...
So how come you snuck in there, then? Because if it was...
I lied. No, I get mistaken for it. I did a gig and the woman said... I said, oh, where's the toilet? And she took me to the disabled toilet. Yeah. And I thought it was too rude to say no.
Yeah.
So I went into the disabled toilet, and then I came out, and there was a disabled woman stood there.
Oh, no.
And it was the most awkward limp I've ever done in my life.
You are from... Your accent is... It's a...
Funny.
I'm trying to place it. It's from the West Country, is that
Yeah,
right?
I'm from Dartmoor.
OK.
From the middle of nowhere.
Someone sighed in pity then, I think, when you said that.
Nothing happened. Where I grew up, I had 4 people in my year at school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
All right.
That is really strange.
Yeah, well, it was. It didn't feel it. Like...
Were there lots of people in the year above and the year below, or was it that fairly common?
Yeah, there was 200 in the year above, and 300 in the year before. It was just a strange probability.
So what did you do for fun when you grew up? Because that's the key thing with kids.
No, there was no entertainment. We tried to make your own entertainment, but it wasn't very adventurous. So, for instance, when I was about 10, for comic relief, me and my best friend Thomas thought we'd raise some money. So we decided to walk to the local town, Bovey Tracy, 3 miles, in Wellington boots full of custard. And we thought it would have been it was a nice thing to do. It would
It's a
have been.
nice thing for comic
Yeah,
books,
but the main issue was my mum, when preparing the custard, didn't realise that we'd want it served at a lower temperature. And you would serve it on an apple crumble.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen your Wellington boots steaming like the entrance to stars in their eyes.
No, I
Have you ever put your foot... Basically, if you haven't put your foot in a Wellington boot with boiling hot custard, there'll be a couple of you, but you don't need to fess up now. With a bath, a hot bath, it's like, oh, that's too hot.
Yeah.
With a Wellington boot with boiling hot custard, it's like, oh, that's too hot, and suctioned on. It's like kind of medieval torture device by the Chuckle Brothers. But that was genuinely the most fun I ever had in Devon.
So what's it like there now? Is it now more of a cosmopolitan, sophisticated place?
No. Do you remember the poster shop Athena?
Yes.
My local town, Exeter, still has one. They've got an Athena next to a C&A.
Wow.
A C&A?
Yeah, I know. If you want to dress like a French exchange student, that is the place for you. Nothing happens. Like, my mum tries to text me with news, but there's no news. I got a text a couple of months ago during the storm saying, Josh, just so you know, the storms are on their way, so I've put the wheelie bin in the shed. That's what I meant to do with this information.
Well, in case you were worried, she was...
I live 250 miles away, I couldn't give a shit, Jonathan.
So you've been... did you start stand-up down there? I guess you couldn't.
No, I started here. You could... No. I could have performed to my other 3 housemates in a bull. No, I started in London. I started about 6 or 7 years ago.
And you went straight into it full-time, or you had jobs in the daytime and did in the evening?
I've worked... my first job, this was back in Devon, was for the local pub, and I had to kind of forage for logs for the fire.
It sounds almost medieval where you grew up. And so that was an actual job, but you were paid for that job?
Yeah, £2.50 an hour. Wow, okay. But it was only 10 minutes' work, and all the logs were kind of under a... They were under a kind of stone bridge. And so I just try and get my hourly rate up by just making it last longer. So I just sit under a bridge. Basically, I was employed as a troll.
But you kind of had that look about you, you know what I mean?
Mate.
No. I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean
what other way can he mean it?
Because like a Middle-earth kind of fella.
Well,
you have a Bilbo look about you, don't you?
All right, yeah. I auditioned.
You got an audition for it. Well, then you see, this proves my theory.
Well, no, because I didn't get the role.
No. But the looks were there.
The looks were there. I thought... I went full in, and they said, do you want to audition for The Hobbit?
Well, have you acted much before?
Never.
Had you studied acting?
No.
Did you have ambitions as an actor?
No.
OK.
But I thought I looked like one.
Yeah.
And I went for the main role.
Yeah. That's confidence. That's confidence.
And I was shit.
OK. So I guess they give you part of the script to read?
They did, yeah, I had that. And I don't like that kind of thing. I think it's, like, you know...
You mean acting? No,
like The Hobbit or, like...
What, you don't like fantasy?
No, it's absurd.
But you went to the audition...
Of course not. I live in the real world.
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, why would you, with your past living under a bridge, be interested in reading about spectacular...
That's the real world!
So how did the audition go, then? How was the acting?
I was terrible. They said, I delivered it, and then they said, could you do it with more light and shade?
Well, let me
Which basically means, could you act?
Yeah.
Have you ever had, could you do it with more light and shade?
Light and shade, yes. I've had that a couple of times.
What's the worst
it
note
about
you've
your
had
hair?
at an
Do it
audition?
slower. Can you
do it slower?
Can you do it...
Are we talking about your auditions or your sex
Can you do it with
life?
highlights?
We're not talking about your honeymoon night. Have you ever had would you mind doing it in another room? You never I have an extract of Bilbo's speech in Hobbit, because they told me that you had... They told me I thought you still wanted to do it. I didn't know that this wasn't...
No, I do, because the money must be amazing.
Yeah, would you... Let's see, have you learned the light and shade? Can you act now, do you think?
Yeah, I reckon I could give it a go. So I'm Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah.
Is he a hobbit?
He's the Hobbit.
He's the Hobbit?
The
big
Hobbit.
one?
He's the lead Hobbit.
Right.
So this was from the last Hobbit film.
OK.
This is when... no spoilers, but this is when Brody dies. So, OK.
What? I covered my ears earlier.
Doesn't really.
I did not come to steal from you.
Hang on. That's about as bad as it could be. Why are you...
He now works at Car Phone Warehouse.
Yeah, why is your voice... Why did your voice go... Your voice went sort of silly.
I was acting!
No, but your voice went silly then. It was
Oh, do you want me to do it?
No, do it like the character.
I've never seen the film!
OK, well, use your imagination.
Oh, yeah, it was!
OK, but you... No, look, he's talking to Smaug. Smaug is an all-powerful dragon who's got a cave...
It's absurd!
No, I'm an all-powerful dragon. You're speaking to me. I'm a dragon. I'm scary, I'm fearsome, you've got nothing to win and everything to lose, or something like that.
Life or death.
I did not come to steal from you, oh Smaug, the unassailably wealthy. Apt, isn't it? Yeah. I merely wanted to gaze upon your magnificence. Not so apt. To see if you were as great as the old tales say. I did not believe them.
That's terrible. You're a terrible actor.
You've got the part. You've got it.
Oh, let's hear Damien do it.
You've got it. Can you teach me how to do a Devon accent?
I can't do accents. I can't do any of them.
But that's your accent.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, but I didn't learn it. It just happens.
I didn't learn it.
That's not what I said. What is this?
Go on, I want to see him.
OK, let's see Damien do it.
I
do you want me to be
did not come
Smaug?
to steal from you.
Oh, I can do that.
How good is that as Devon? I want to do Devon.
Well, all of it? You've acted, Paloma. Yeah.
I'm terrible at acting.
Yeah, see, a minute ago, everyone was laughing at Josh. Now people don't want to do it.
No.
OK, I'll do it. OK.
I did not come to steal from you. Oh, Snog, the unassailably wealthy. I really wanted to gaze upon your magnificence.
How you do it?
That was right and shade and everything in between.
Right and shade?
That's the way to do it.
It's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
That was great. So now, you're not touring at the moment, but you're going to tour again soon, I imagine?
in September.
Josh, it's lovely you came on the
It's
show.
been a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm pleased that I got to have you here and you finally got to fulfil that weird fantasy of yours.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Good to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Widdicombe. That was great. You did so much. You were so much. Josh Widdicombe. After the break, Brian Ferry will be chatting and singing for us live, so don't go away. That was... Welcome back. Before we get my next guest out, let me just take a moment here to remind you of a few of the fantastic hits that made him one of the biggest music stars of recent times. Look at Brian Ferry in action.
Make me a deal and make it straight. Or sign and seal, I take it. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm just a jealous guy. Come on, let's stick together. You know we made a vow to leave one another ever. Oh, can't you see? Love is the drug for me.
So my first question is going to have to be about that eye patch, for sure. The one and only Mr. Brian Ferry, ladies and gentlemen. Right, I've got to ask you about that eye patch there. Was that, was that Top of the Pops or one of those performances?
Something like that, yeah. It was genuine, though. I can't remember what happened. I think I had an argument with a door or something.
I admire you for styling it out, though. But see, you would have got away with the eye patch because didn't you sometimes wear an eye patch anyway?
No, that was the first one and only time.
I'm mixing you up with a pirate. I know, obviously. But you kind of obviously you don't dress like that anymore. You wouldn't dress like some of the crazier earlier outfits, and you don't. Do you ever wear makeup anymore on stage?
Not really. No. Just when I'm on your show.
A little bit of blusher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And where are the outfits? So, because I grew up loving Roxy music, and I love the style as much. Do you have them in storage somewhere?
I think we've still got them in storage, yeah.
Were the kids allowed to wear them ever?
They steal them occasionally for fancy dress parties.
There you go. See, that's what a band should look like.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned your son very briefly in passing there. This was shocking news I heard about. Was it Merlin, your son Merlin?
Yeah.
Who was involved in what sounded like a terrifying car accident. And he is... How old is Merlin?
He's 24.
24. And that's kind of the call no parent wants to get a call.
No, it's pretty bad. It's the worst thing a parent could imagine, really. and he was in this head-on collision, and thanks to first the firemen in Shropshire and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital doctors and nurses, he's making an amazing recovery, and
well, that's
thanks to the NHS, basically.
Great news. Have you seen the picture? I saw the picture of the cars.
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
OK, I'm going to show you a picture, and you see this, you'll just realise the severity of this crash, and no one was harmed, I believe. You know, they were harmed, but no one was fatally injured.
No.
OK, which is... So we should say that before... But look at this. This is a shocking photograph. Yeah. That's quite something, isn't it? Man. But he is fine. He was in the danger zone for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And now he's actually out of hospital for a bit. He has to go back for more operations.
But he can walk, or he's taking steps again now?
Yeah, yeah, he's with a crutch, and yeah, he's being very game about it, yeah.
OK. So who broke the news to you? Who phoned you when that happened?
His brother Otis. Oh. Yeah.
And so I can't imagine...
On the 22nd of December, so it was kind of... It was that time of the year when you want to kind of celebrate, and so it was a pretty dark time for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. But thank heavens it's going in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite something. I was thinking about your sons, and I was thinking about your life and your upbringing and how different that must have been. Because you came from a very working-class family.
Yeah.
You were Geordie, aren't you?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I'm from Durham.
Oh, so China-ware...
Yeah. So Newcastle was my kind of biggest city, though, where I actually went to university there.
Your dad was a miner, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, he was born on a farm, and he was actually a farm labourer, really. He very proud of his all the prizes he had for ploughing with a team of 4 horses, and so he worked with horses all his life. In the 30s, he went down the pit to work with the horses there.
I can imagine.
So he was basically like a country guy, but working underground.
So what did your father, who is, you know, a very, you know, a traditional sort of farm man who then has this kind of like toughness, what did he make of his son deciding to go off to art school and then dressing like that? That
he
must
was
have been...
amazed. I think, first of all, you know, he couldn't understand the art thing, but then he accepted it, and they were very supportive, actually. I also actually loved what I was doing. I loved painting, and I really wanted to be an artist and live in New York or somewhere, and be a Jackson Pollock or whoever. And I kind of went to Newcastle University. We had this great artist there called Richard Hamilton, who was like the leading English pop artist. And that was a great time for me. That's where I met a lot of people who are still my friends now.
And you met some of the huge names that you met. Andy Warhol, I believe, and also Salvador Dali.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have a picture of you with Salvador Dali, which is... I mean, that's kind of... I'm not sure whether you're with him or he's just lurking behind you. But you spoke with Dali?
Oh, yeah. And on another night, we went for dinner with him, and he was amazing, because he had, like, 6 incredible, beautiful blondes in this great black Cadillac limousine in Paris. And he lived in the Maurice Hotel, which is a fantastic old hotel. At that time, it was beautiful. And, yeah, we went for dinner. Amanda Lear was a friend we had in common. Another beautiful blonde.
Did he actually have a pet anteater, or was... Because I've seen a photograph of him walking his pet anteater in Paris.
Not in the hotel in Paris, but...
Taking it for a walk?
Well, he was a strange one. And,
I think saying he's a strange one is an understatement, yeah. But what a brilliant thing. What did you talk to him about?
I can't remember much. I mean,
how can you not remember what you spoke to Salvador Dali about?
I was more interested in talking to the girls who were with him.
So how old were you then when you met Dali?
I was 28 or something.
28, yeah. So a young man still.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. You're going to perform a track for the new album now, and I love the fact the album, I mean, it's a great-looking album. The album's called Avonmore, and I notice you've gone for an old photograph of yourself there.
I think
so what's the deal there? How are you getting away with that, Brian?
Well, I'll tell you why, because we were in a real rush to get it out. This was before Christmas, and I was in Chicago. So we went into the archive and found this early study.
Because that's the image I use of myself on Tinder.
Ah.
So, you ever looked on Tinder?
No, no.
You know what Tinder is?
Nope.
You don't know what Tinder is?
No.
Nor do I. Josh, what's Tinder?
Don't know what you're talking about.
So Brian's going to perform for us now, ladies and gentlemen. The album is called Avonmore. The track that we're going to have this evening is... You're going to do Drive Me Wild, is that right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brian, it's lovely to see you again. And
thank you.
And once again, you know, I'm so pleased that your son as well, because that must have been
Thanks
the
very
worst
much.
news you'd have heard. Ladies and gentlemen, who'll be performing for us right now, but join me now in saying thank you to Mr. Brian Ferry.
Thank you.
Brian, thank you so much. Thank you. I think, Brian, you go over. Brian's going to go and get ready to perform. Thanks to all my guests tonight. Of course, next week my show will be a special one-off exclusive interview with Madonna, in which we talk about her career, her personal life, and, of course, that fall at the Brits. Plus, she'll be performing 2 brilliant new songs for us as well, so don't miss it. That's next Saturday. But now we have a musical treat for you as well. This evening, here with Driving Me Wild, it is, of course, Mr. Brian Ferry.
Trembling with rage, I'm wrestling with my demons on every page. Can't read that label, I can't make it out. It's a world of confusion what I'm talking about. You're driving me wild, you're driving me wild, you're driving me wild. It's tearing me apart. How can I escape the shape of me? No dream will ever be the same. Everything around calls with me. I'm dealing with a feeling that nobody knows, and the kindness of ravens, a murder of crows. Out in the cold, I'm feeling so bad. Can't stop thinking about you, the times we had. You're driving me wild, you're driving me wild, you're driving me wild. Don't leave me in despair, listen to my plea just one more time. I know love can be unfair, wandering on my own. Listen to my plea just one more time. I know love can be unfair, wandering on my own, one of a kind. You're driving me wild, you're driving me wild, you're driving me wild. You're driving me wild, you're driving me wild. You're driving me wild.
Mr. Brian Ferry, ladies and gentlemen.
And as Jonathan said, the one and only Madonna joins him next Saturday night at 9:20. Over on ITV2 tonight, there's some healthy competition for the lads in Ibiza Weekender, and on ITV4, taking a look at all the action from Eden Park with the ICC Cricket World Cup highlights next. Stay with us for the late news.